I want to go over the GVC geometric sequence assignment on Alex. This assignment, you have 1 hour to take the assignment, but it shouldn't take you that long. The first question, now the numbers might be different, but it will be the same basic concept. For each sequence, determine whether it appears to be arithmetic, geometric, or neither. And that's a key part right there, the neither. Sometimes it's not going to be either one of them. Let's go ahead and look at the 5, 20, 80, 320. Let's see if it has a difference. To do that, we take this second number minus that first number. So we're going to minus, and 20 minus 5 is 15. Now we see if the same thing happens again. What's 80 minus 20? Well, that's 60. So it does not have a common difference, so it's not arithmetic. Now let's see if it has a common ratio. If we go 20 divided by 5, we see it's 4. 80 divided by 20 is also 4. And remember, always go 3 numbers. 320 divided by 80 is 4. So we see that this one is in fact geometric because it has a common ratio. These numbers right here tell us that it's times 4 every single time. 5 times 4 times 4 times 4 and so on. Let's go on to the next one. Minus 2, minus 2, minus 2. It seems like it's always going down by 2. And again, we can find that as 10 minus 12 is a negative 2. And then 8 minus 10 is negative 2. And so on. So we see that, in fact, it has a common difference, so it's arithmetic. Okay, and the last one. If we subtract it, we see the difference is 3. If we subtract it, the difference is now 5. So it can't be that one. It's not going to be arithmetic. Let's find out if it's got a common ratio. 4 divided by 1 is 4. 9 divided by 4 is not 4. So it is not geometric either, which makes it neither. And that's how you do that first problem. If we look at the type of problem you'll get on number 2, same basic thing. The thing to remember is geometric has a common ratio. That means you take the second number, so if I have 2, 4, 8, and so on, I take the second number divided by the first number, and that gives me, in this case, 2. If I do the same thing, I get 2 again. And right there I can see, hey, there is a common ratio, so this sequence right here would be geometric. So if we look at these, 400 divided by 4,000 is 0.1. 40 divided by 400 is 0.1. And 4 divided by 40 is 0.1. So we see it does have a common ratio. That common ratio is 0.1. And with a common ratio, it's geometric. 20 divided by 25, I have to do on a calculator. I can't even do that one in my head. So 20 divided by 25 is 0.8. So we'll have 0.8 here. 15 divided by 20 is 0.75. So it is not geometric. And sometimes you can do it in your head quicker than that. But we see, hey, it's going down by 5, negative 5, minus 5, and minus 5. So it has a common difference this time. Every single time it has a common difference of negative 5. So that is arithmetic. If we look here, plus 3 plus 5 can't be arithmetic. 4 divided by 1 is 4. 9 divided by 4 is 2.25, so it is not geometric either. So in this case, the answer would be neither. So that's how you do the first two. Number 3. When it comes up, it's asking you, is it geometric or not? We don't have to worry about arithmetic anymore. We want just geometric. And we also want to find the common ratio. So that's what it's asking for right here, common ratio. So let's look at this. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 4 is not 2. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not 2, so that means that one is not geometric. 12 divided by 4. Let's do that on the calculator. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 36 divided by 12 is 3. 108 divided by 36 is 3. So this one is geometric because it has a common ratio, and that is the common ratio right there. So one of these is the ratio. So it's asking, hey, what's the ratio? Well, the ratio is just that number that we found, so it would be 3. And we get that just by taking that number and putting it right there. Okay. The next one, negative 50 divided by 250. Negative 50 divided by 250 is negative 0.2. So we have negative 0.2. And 10 divided by negative 50 is negative 0.2. And this will also be negative 0.2. So this one is geometric. It has a common ratio. And if we see here, our answer choices give us a choice of a fraction. And so I'm just going to use that. I'm going to go ahead and put it in as a fraction. And that's why I was saying in class a long time ago is it's much easier to do a fraction. So we're going to go ahead and put a fraction. What is 0.2? I'm going to hit math, enter, enter. And I see it's negative 1 over 5. And that's what I'm going to put right there. Now, do you have to do that? Most cases, it's highly recommended, so I would say yes. Number 4. Same thing that we did this last time. Is it geometric or is it not? Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. 32 divided by negative 8 is negative 4. And negative 4. So it is geometric. And my common ratio is that number that I keep getting, negative 4. Okay. Now this one has a fraction. So don't let that get you too upset. Right there. You can use it in the calculator. Just put parentheses, 1 divided by 5, parentheses. There's my fraction, 1/5. Divided by 1, and so the answer is 1/5, or 0.2. So let's clear that out. Right here it's 0.2. And let's start at the beginning. 5 divided by 25 is 0.2. And 1 divided by 5 is 0.2. So this one is geometric. And my common ratio is 1/5. And I get that because I can do 0.2 math, enter, enter on the calculator, and I see it's 1/5. And again, the ratio is always better to do in fraction form. Now to get from 5 to 10, I either times 2, but 10 times 2 is not 15, So it is not geometric, and I'm done with that question. This one, find the first 4 terms of the sequence with the given following. Okay? Now, what we're looking for here is the first 4 terms. This part right here, all it's saying is it wants you to look at the first term, the second term, the third term. In other words, that's just garbage. We don't need that. We can ignore that piece right there. That's all it's asking for. What we need to find is our first term. Our first term is going to be 7. And that's what that number right there represents, that first term. Okay? Now what's our common ratio? Our common ratio, and I'll erase that first term arrow. Our common ratio is that number right there. So 2. So what is 7 times 2? Well, that would be 14. And then we do it again. What is 14 times 2? 14 times 2 would be 28. What is 28 times 2? 56. Or excuse me, 56. Don't know where I got 36. And that's how you do that type of problem. Again, on this type of problem, all this n equals thing is telling you is use 1, 2, 3 in here for n. So n minus 1, or 1 minus 1, 2 minus 1, 3 minus 1. But it's easier to just remember, hey, I already know the first term. That's my first term. If you remember, it's a sub n equals a sub 1. Okay, that a sub 1 means first term, parentheses, ratio, parentheses, and then n minus 1. Okay, so the ratio and the a sub n minus 1, or the a sub 1. Let's go ahead and go on to the next type of problem you'll see. And again, the numbers are going to all be different. So we look, do we see our first term? That first number right there, that 5, is our first term. So we look at it and we say, okay, I know what my first term is. Now that next number right here is my common ratio. That's what I'm multiplying by. So what is 5 times 3? That would be 15. 15 times 3 is 45. 45 times 3, got to do that one on a calculator, is 135. And this part, again, we can just ignore. We don't need it. And that's how you do that answer. So that's how you do those 2 questions. The question that you might see on number 7. The sequences below are either arithmetic or geometric, one or the other. For each sequence, determine whether it is arithmetic or geometric and write the formula for the nth term a sub n of the sequence. Okay, let's look at our paper and let's see what we remember. The arithmetic sequence, by the way, when it's looking for the nth term, anytime it's looking for the nth term, it wants the explicit formula. And the explicit formula for the arithmetic is a sub n equals a sub 1 plus the difference times n minus 1. And if you remember, the only parts we're changing is that part right there and the difference. Those are the only parts we're changing. Okay? Now the next one, for geometric, is a sub n equals a sub 1 times r n n minus 1. And this n minus 1 can be either in the parentheses or out of the parentheses. It doesn't matter. And again, all I'm changing is the a sub 1 and the r. That's it. That's all I need to look at. So now let's find out. 2, 6, 18. So times 3, times 3, times 3. So it's times 3 each time. That tells me it is geometric. And what is my formula? Well, if I look at the geometric formula right here, I can say, okay, what's my a sub 1? A sub 1 is the first term, so that would be 2. Next, I have parentheses. So I'm going to put in the parentheses. And then I have my common ratio. What is my common ratio? It's 3 times 3, right? End parentheses. Now I'm going to put in an exponent. And what's my exponent? There's no box around it. I'm finding the nth term, so I just plug in n for that, n. So I just leave n minus 1. Okay, let's try the next one. 13 divided by 7 is a very weird number, 1.857. And 19 divided by 13 is not the same number, so it is not geometric. So we can say, hey, we know this one's not geometric, which means there's only one other option, arithmetic. We got to find the common difference. How do I get from 7 to 13? I just plus 6. And 13 to 19, also plus 6. Now I've got to put in my explicit formula, the nth term formula. That's the same thing as explicit. So the nth term, I have a sub n equals, that's right there. And then right here is a sub 1. What is my a sub 1? It's my first term, so I have 7. My difference is a plus, because it's going bigger, so plus 6. And there's where the difference goes, right there. And then I just do n minus 1, because I'm trying to find the nth term, and that's what that n represents, the nth term. Okay. The next one's going to be very similar, so I'll leave those formulas up. Oh, it changed. But it's okay that I left the formulas up because we're going to use them. Find the 10th term in this geometric sequence. So right now we're going to use this sequence formula right there, and I want the 10th term. Let's go ahead and start. What is the 10th term? Well, I need to plug some stuff in. I have a sub n equals, what's my first term? Right there it wants my a sub 1, so my first term is 4. Then I have a parentheses. Now my r. What is my r? What is my common ratio? 12 divided by 4 is 3. So it's times 3. And then raised to the n minus 1. Well, what is n? I'm looking for the 10th term. So that gets plugged in right there for n. And I'm left with 4 times 3, 10 minus 1. And I just type that whole thing into the calculator as I see it. So 4 parentheses 3 parentheses raised to the 10 minus 1, enter. And I see that the next term, or that term, is 78732, and that's the answer. Now it's there's lots of calculators online that can do exponents, so if you don't have a calculator that can do an exponent, you can do one online. Let's go to the next one. Number 9. It's a very similar thing, so we're using the same formula, geometric, and I can plug in stuff. So I have a sub n equals, what's my a sub 1? That's 3. So 3. And then I'm looking for parentheses, r. What is my r? Times 2, times 2, times 2. So parentheses 2, parentheses. And now my n right there is the 13th term. Remember, that's my n right there. So 1, 3 minus 1. And I type that into my calculator. 3 parentheses 2 parentheses raised to the 13 minus 1. Enter. And I see that my 13th term in that list of numbers is 12288. And the last type of question you're going to get comes up for the recursive formula. And this is these are both geometric. I believe, oh, this one might not be. This one looks like it's arithmetic. So plus 6, plus 6, plus 6. So this one has a common difference of plus 6. This one has a common ratio of negative 10. I get that by taking negative 20 divided by 2, and I get negative 10. So let's look at each one of those. First, I'm going to write the formulas. Arithmetic is a sub 1 equals the first term. And then I have a sub n equals, and we're looking at geometric or arithmetic right now, so it's a sub n minus 1 plus d. Okay, and if you remember, this part right here, a sub n minus 1 just simply means the last term. Now there's only two parts that we need to change. We need to replace that with the actual first term and our common difference. That's all we need to worry about for arithmetic. If we look at geometric, we have a sub 1 also, first term. And I have a sub n equals, and now we're at the geometric side of that paper, and we see it's r parentheses a sub n minus 1. And again, the only parts we're changing are the first term and the r. So let's go ahead and fill these in. A sub 1 for that first one is my first term, which is right here at 2. And what is a sub n? And this is geometric. Remember, we're timesing by negative 10. So a sub n equals r. What's my common ratio? Is negative 10. And then I have parentheses. And then I have a, oh, I didn't get the parentheses in there. Oh, it doesn't want us to use parentheses, so I'll just use the times a sub n minus 1. Okay. Now, if parentheses ever not, if you can't do it, just look up here and see what options you have. Okay. So now this one, I have a sub 1. Again, my first term is 17. Now, a sub n, if I look over here, I just type that exactly as I see it. A n minus 1. And then I hit the right arrow to get out of the subscript there. Times, oh, excuse me, not times. We're in arithmetic. Plus, and we're doing plus 6. And that is how you do that assignment. So hopefully those are enough examples for you that it can help you get going.